All right, this video is going to show you how to reinforce any clay that you may attach to your pinch pot. So there's a few different ways that we can do this. So say you're doing a pinch pot that's going to be a cow or an animal, and you have to attach some sort of head to it. This one would be a little bit small. Let me use a little bit more clay. If you're going to use a solid ball of clay, I would definitely say don't use one that's any thicker than about an inch. It takes a little too long to dry, and there's the likelihood that it will explode in the kiln. So here's about a ball of clay. I would definitely say going no bigger than this. Again, this is about a little less than an inch in thickness around. If you're going to go bigger than this, what I would do is get a ball of clay, stick your thumb in it, make it a little mini pinch pot, and then attach it. And so say I wanted to attach this right here because it was going to be the head of the animal that I'm making. So what you're going to do is, of course, score and slip. If it helps because it's rounded to kind of tap it and flatten it a little bit, you can do that as well. But I'm going to score where I would like to attach this and attach that on. And what you're going to notice is just with gravity and kind of the way this works, that's not the strongest attachment that we could get with this ball of clay. There is a likelihood that even though we used our toothbrush and some water to score and attach this, there's the possibility that this can fall off because it's on the side of my pinch pot and gravity is working against that to try to push that down. So so here's something that you can do to really reinforce this attachment. You can take a piece of clay, roll out a really thin coil, super, super thin, like almost thinner than your needle tool handle. So about something like that. Mine got a little dry, so I'm just gonna add a little water to it. Then what you're going to do is you're gonna take that coil, you're gonna score with your toothbrush, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to wrap this coil around the head. Really tuck it in there into that crease. Just kind of rip it off. And so now we've got some extra clay supporting it. And you're like, okay, but I don't want this coil to show. That doesn't work with my design. No problem. What you do is you're going to take your wooden modeling tool, use curve side down, and you're going to blend half of the coil into the attached clay. And yes, it's going to look a little messy at first. So I'm going about halfway down the coil, blending it into the attached clay, the attached clay, which for me would be the head of the animal. And then I still have some coil that's untouched. Now I'm going to take the other half of the coil and blend it down into my pinch pot. So now I have clay that is attaching my attached clay and my pinch pot together. And yes, it looks messy, so I'm going to take my pinky, start to smooth that out a little bit. And what you're going to see is you're going to feel a much stronger connection. And this is really going to help, especially because this is on the side of my pinch pot. It's going to help kind of defeat gravity to really get that on there and to help that from falling off. And so you can do this anywhere on your pinch pot. And you also don't have to add that extra coil. If you feel like you've got enough clay, say you wanted to add a coil on the side, this might not really work with my design, But say I wanted to add some sort of coil design on the side. So I'd make my coil, score with my toothbrush and some water. And then I could take this coil, place it on. Now with coils, it's a little different, as you know, with your coaster that we did with applied coils. This coil will stay on, but maybe you don't want it to have kind of that crease that we can see, or maybe you really just want to make sure that you can reinforce your coil. You can do the same thing that we did before. Just take a little bit of that edge of your coil and blend it down into your pinch pot. And that will really start to reinforce that attachment. You can do it on the underside, you can do it on the top side, you can do it on both sides. The main thing you want to make sure is that you just go back through and clean it up and really make sure that it looks nice and clean and even. Like so. And again, that just reinforces the attachment of the clay to your pinch pot to make sure that it does not fall off as it starts to dry.